Hey YouTube, Mark Hoffman here, and I'm going to talk about the Schrade, should have looked at this before, SCH206. Now, this knife, I've already broken my New Year's resolution, so I ended up just buying this one, and I paid about $9 for it, including shipping. So, and the shipping was free, so I mean, whatever. Yeah, so it's a $9 knife. I'm going to throw that out there. It's a very inexpensive knife, something I wouldn't regularly carry, but I actually set out to do a video on this knife and do an experiment. And it actually has it is, how can I say it? The experiment backfired, and I've actually purchased another Schrade to see if I could do the modifications that I wanted to do on this one to the other one. But I'll tell you how this backfired, but I'm going to first tell you what I wanted to do. So I'm going to put up a clip here showing you how the action was before I did anything to it, and that should be going now. And as you can see, that did not really go or operate very well, and now it does. But I'll tell you this, I have to put a little bit of wrist. It's still not quite there, as you can see. Not a big improvement, but I can at least push it out with my thumb, but it's still not quite there. But the upgrades I actually did were I put a stainless steel washer on the show side and a bronze one in the back. And hopefully this bronze one will wear a little more easily than the stainless steel one, so then it should loosen up over time. The thing I wanted to originally do for this video, and I'm gonna see if I can do it for the next one. Let me open that for you so you can see the blade. But the thing I wanna hopefully do for the next one that comes in, and a few other cheaper knives, is improve the action, or at least see if I can improve the action to the point of one of my more expensive knives. That was going to be the video for this one. The problem was these screws, or at least I started by unscrewing this one and it immediately stripped out. And I'm not talking about the threads for the screw, on the top. I'm talking about the screw threads themselves stripped out. And when that happened, this handle jumped out. Okay, what I actually ended up doing is I abandoned the idea of disassembling this knife. You're probably thinking, come on Mark, it's a $9 knife, what are you wanting to do? But that was part of the challenge. I wanted to take this apart and polish the scales, not the scales, but the inner liners, polish the bushings, and polish the blade, so then I could get a really nice action. I can't even get it apart, so kind of avoids the challenge there. So what I ended up doing is I took this wonderful stuff, JB Weld steel reinforced epoxy, and I took it on a piece of paper, slid it in between this scale and here, and then I, as best as I could, I screwed this back down enough where it's flush, and I put a little bit of JB Weld on the threads when I put that back in. So that's permanently put together. So then I took these out, had no problem doing that, taking the pocket clip off, and I'll tell you that I do regret something I did there, but I took the screw that was on this side was actually on this side, and I just assembled it incorrectly. It still went back together, but this screw was more robust than that one. So this one is actually, I don't even know if I can show it, but it was it shredded apart almost immediately, and just by applying a ton of force and pulling it loose, I was able to take the blade out and take the screw apart. Now the threads were intact, and I had a little bit of gripping on it for the wrench, but it's just loosening it up is impossible at this point, and I'll tell you why. But so then I ended up putting the bushings in, and putting that all back together, I have the centering almost dead on perfect. Dead on perfect almost. The knife operates the way it should, but what I did on reassembling it is I actually put some more JB Weld, and this stuff is tough stuff. I mean, like, you are not probably going to break this apart at any time. On this screw for the pivot, and then I put some on the screws for the pocket clip. My mentality was that this pocket clip is only one side, so I'm going to have it on that side. It's a $8, $9 knife. If it breaks, if the pocket clip breaks off, I'll either rip it off or I'll throw the knife away. But actually what ended up happening when I reassembled it is the lockup improved. It was actually way further than what it is right now, and it improved when I put it back together, which I guess is a good thing. But yeah, this is definitely a permanently closed knife, and once it craps out on me, I think I'll just throw it in the bin. But what are we working with here for $8 or $9? Well, we have an 8CR 13 MOV steel blade. We have aluminum, rather heavy knife for it to be aluminum scales, a rubber insert here, which I reckon will probably come out and be peeled out or something within probably 6 months. I don't guarantee that's going to even stay there. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why they didn't do this design for this side. I really wish they had, but the knife itself is pretty nice for $8, $9. 3 inches long in the steel, in the blade. So it's compact, it's good. I find it to be a very useful knife. It actually came out of the box pretty sharp, surprisingly. But the action on this, when I set out this challenge, I wanted to be able to coerce this blade shut by just rocking it, and I still can't even do that. So yeah, that's the story on this Schrade SCH206. I wanted to set out a cool challenge for myself, and because of just how crappy the knife was, and this isn't, you know, Schrade isn't wanting to create a masterpiece here. This is just your Joe Blow wants a knife and he gets this. I mean, that's what they're producing, and that's what they're wanting to put out, and that's what you're going to buy. It's not going to be a knife that is going to be perfection. So, you know, there's that. But yeah, there's just a few things I had to do to this thing to get it back together and stay together. I had to JB weld that back in. I JB weld the scale because it was a good 2 millimeters popping out that way. So all I did there is I just clamped this shut overnight and let the JB weld settle. So yeah, not the most perfect knife in the world, but I mean, it's going to be my knife. I'm definitely keeping this in the toolbox to do jobs that I would never even do with my $15 knives. I am definitely going to be using this for gardening. I'm going to use it for just junk work, you know, stuff that you just know that this is not going to make it through, but if you had to cut something or pry something up or use it as a screwdriver, everything you wouldn't do with a knife, I'm going to be doing with this one. So that is the story on this knife, and I'm sorry that I wasn't able to accomplish my goal in making this drop shut action, whatever I wanted to do with it, but hopefully I'm going to be able to do that with the other ones that are coming in. So thank you guys again for taking a look at this knife. I apologize again for failing you and myself on this challenge, but hopefully I'll get it on the next one. So I'll talk to you guys in the next video, and I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you guys again. Hope you have subscribed, and I'll talk to you later in the next one. Bye-bye.